VK3ZVX here. Part 2 of the CR100/8 Marconi naval receiver, and I'm about to attempt to remove the shell from the radio and extract the main chassis. So according to my reckoning, if I've counted correctly, there are 22 screws that need to be removed. They're all sheet metal type screws like the ones on the front panel here. So there are 9 around the front panel, 5 on each side, and there appear to be another 3 at the back. So I'll start at the back and work my way around to the front. It's always a good idea to have a container to put screws in. So here we go. It's 14. Actually, that's 13. And the front panel, thankfully none of these are rusted in place. They do have a bit of tension in them which needs to be broken or released, but that's a good thing. Now I think that's the last one, and I can't see that I've missed any. Here we go. And there it is. That's a fairly substantial case. It's probably 10 gauge steel. And here we have the internals, the CR100, fully accessible. And now that the shell has been removed, it's possible to see all the internal surfaces a lot more clearly. There's quite a bit of surface corrosion here. And on the ends of the roller and so on. I would take a guess, oh well, I probably don't have to guess very hard, that this has been in a marine environment, being a naval receiver, so I suppose a bit of surface corrosion is actually to be expected. Now, because of the extensive and fairly pervasive nature of the surface corrosion, I'm going to go a step further and I'm going to remove the front panel from the receiver. That should be fairly straightforward. As far as I can see, there's only one remaining anchor point, and that's on the main switch. There's a collet on here, so that should come away. If it comes away all right, the whole thing will separate quite easily. And that will give me access to the front part of the tuning mechanism, which is immediately behind the panel, and will also give me access to the those areas of the chassis which are not currently exposed. So that will make cleaning a bit easier and a bit more thorough. So a smaller screwdriver this time, and thankfully Marconi use uniform knobs. But I need a bigger one than that, or a smaller one than that. All right, let's try this one. And on the larger knobs, of course, there are two screws, which makes everything just a little bit more complicated. Rotate that down to a position 1 on the band change. It'll make it easier to find the correct location later. This is in the off position, the mode selector. That's because the switch is seized. And that one comes off all right. The collet on the main switch yep, that's cooperated. Volume control. It doesn't seem to be cooperating. No, there we go. Right. BFO. Smaller screwdriver required for that one. Okay, try again. There you go. Oh, that one's missing a screw. Fine-tune control. fine-tune control is being a little uncooperative. It pays to keep a selection of screwdrivers on hand when you're doing this sort of thing. And finally, course tuning control. Now, it's a credit to the manufacturers that these things come apart relatively easily. There's a little bit of fine debris inside there. It looks like it's come off the very edges of the fine tuning control. It doesn't seem to be too much of a problem. Just something to bear in mind when I reassemble it. Okay. Now, and there's the front panel. Now, unfortunately, something I didn't mention in the first video was that the viewing glass on the tuning indicator is broken. That's a bit unfortunate, but it's a relatively small piece of glass, and I'm sure I won't have any trouble getting a replacement made for that. Interestingly, there's a screw and nut in the front panel here as well. No indication as to what that's for. Anyway, all good. And remove the props. And as I indicated, it's now possible to get into the front part of the chassis where it wasn't accessible before because it was too close to the front panel. A bit of surface corrosion, but nothing to be concerned about. Interestingly though, the slider track here where the pointer is, there's a bit of corrosion on that, so it would probably be a good idea to give that a clean as well. I'm not sure about disassembling it, that might be looking for trouble. And as my father would have said, the man who goes looking for trouble can only blame himself when he finds it. So I'm a little bit reluctant to go down that path. But possibly a bit of contact cleaner in there just to get the muck out of it. And then a bit of half decent lubricant just to grease the rails a bit. But everything else seems to be in reasonable condition. It all just needs a jolly good clean and a bit of a lubrication here and there. Okay. Possibly time to go to the shop and get some contact cleaner and take to the whole thing with a brush. All right, back later.